All right, time now to switch gears, going to the other side of the aisle. Let's get some Republican insight on the looming vote on witnesses from Georgia Senator David Perdue. Good evening, Senator. Good to have you back.
Hi, Shannon.
Okay, so to this issue of witnesses, I believe it was Senator Kennedy, your colleague, who said earlier tonight, if you think Adam Schiff's going to be happy with only one, then you probably also believe in Bigfoot. Here's Rush Limbaugh's take on more witnesses.
There's no need for the Republicans to say, okay, we'll agree to witnesses so that the people will think that we're fair and nice and bipartisan, all that rot gut. It's a freaking trap. And you say no because Schumer's asking for it. You say no because Schiff is asking for it.
Yet it sounds like a number of your colleagues, maybe enough, will change the calculus of where you go from here, because it sounds like they're not going to vote to block witnesses.
Well, we don't know, but let's talk about witnesses for a second. The reason the founders had the investigation to be done in the House is because they can do it in committee there without shutting the House down. They did not do that in this case. They didn't call Bolton. Where was the outcry for fair play and due process when it was in the House? Nobody was saying it then. This president just now finally got his day in court. And the problem is, if you then move the investigation to the Senate, Shannon, you have to shut it down in impeachment. That means this is the ultimate government shutdown right now being perpetrated by Schiff and Schumer, and they're perpetrating on the American people, and nobody's called them out on it yet.
Okay, Senator Blumenthal, Democrat, says this.
I think a number of my Republican colleagues are really searching their souls. I know of a couple who are very close to saying they want witnesses, and certainly John Bolton is the one who should testify.
And Greg Sargent, writing over at the Washington Post, says the real story here is that Senate Republicans knew for months that such explosive revelations from Bolton were a very likely possibility, and that this is precisely why they've resisted hearing Bolton's testimony so aggressively. And I would note, New York Times didn't even quote the manuscript, so we don't even know exactly what the book says, but what we're being offered. You're being accused of, you're the ones on trial here because you're complicit in a cover-up.
Well, Nadler said in his opening remarks, we were complicit in a cover-up. He called the president's team liars. This is the hypocrisy of our time, Shannon. You know, right now what they're doing is they want us to do what they didn't do in the House. And I just say this, nothing that Bolton can do or say can change the outcome of this, and here's why. The articles of impeachment that they brought are flawed. They're not impeachable. These articles are not impeachable. They didn't even prove these articles, and if you prove obstruction of justice and particularly abuse of power could be used on every president. Let me give you an example. President Trump goes to China, he does a China trade deal. That could benefit his reelect. Well, my gosh, that could mean that he just abused his power because it's going to benefit his reelect. That's what they're accusing him of here in this case.
Yeah, Alan Dershowitz, who's a part of the president's defense team, last night, as you were sitting there, went through all of the presidents who could have been impeached under that standing, starting with George Washington. Yeah. So he's making that argument, and yet the reviews of him in the mainstream media of Dershowitz and the rest of the legal team are that they're an embarrassment, they're bumbling, they're terrible, they don't even believe what they're saying, which, frankly, sometimes attorneys don't. I mean, you're paid to represent somebody. But there was not, I didn't see one person in the mainstream media outlets who were saying these were great arguments, they're thought-provoking. I mean, they're just not accepted at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, the most important person in this conversation are the people back home. They're over this. They want to move on. They want to acquit this president and never do this again. This is not a precedent that we want to set for future presidents. We've got so many things going on. The China trade deal, USMCA, we've got things coming up with the Israelis and so forth and Palestinians. This president's trying to get results for the American people. This is an attempt by the Democrats to shut down the Senate by having an elongated period. This is Pandora's box if we go into talking about witnesses after Friday.
What's your argument to your GOP colleagues who are considering that vote right now? What would you say to persuade them to your position?
This is a precedent-setting decision that if we call one witness now that the Democrats didn't call in the House, we set this up for every future president to be impugned and impeached on abuse of power.
Okay. I want to ask you, because you mentioned Israel, obviously the prime minister is here in town today, along with his challenger. This is what Congresswoman Ilhan Omar tweeted about the deal that the president rolled out today. They could have guaranteed justice and brought everyone into this peace deal. Instead, these two embattled heads of state, impeached and indicted, have a, quote, just us peace deal. It's shameful and disingenuous. She's not a fan.
Well, the Camp David Accords, if you recall, well, you're too young to remember that, but they had all sorts of criticism right up until the point they had an agreement. Anytime you try to do big things, you're going to be criticized right up until you get progress. I see this as a great opening. After a decade under the prior president that we had, who had withdrawn from the rest of the world, we have a president now that's re-engaging with our allies. He's calling out our NATO friends to up their pay for their own defense. He's now looking for a solution in the Middle East. He's trying to move to a peace plan in Afghanistan and in Syria. This is a president that's trying to actually get results over there, and I applaud him for it.
Will the Palestinians buy into any of this? Do you think they'll come to the table and say, we can work on this?
Well, they get so many conflicting supporters out there, from Hezbollah all the way to the Iranians, that it's very, very difficult. This is a point where the Palestinians have to realize that their economic future could be enhanced dramatically if they would come to the negotiating table, and the Israelis have to come too. This is a place where both sides have to give more than they think they can now to get to a common agreement.
All right, Senator Perdue, on many topics. Great to have you tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.